Good evening, everyone. I'm glad that you are dropping by into my world for a minute. So, I am showing you I guess hip and bones, right? It's kind of hard to see because I'm actually outside. You can see all these reflections, but there is a muscle that's wrapping around that leg bone right there, and it's called the sartorius muscle. Why am I doing this today? Why am I doing it now? Because I was making dinner and I got to the point, well, actually I was looking at some things that I could make. I was looking in my lower cabinets. I went down and started looking around, and then boom, I got up and something moved in my leg and I couldn't walk. Okay, this was probably about 30 minutes ago. What I did is I went over to this book right here. I am a homeschool mother, and I'll show myself in a minute. I went to this book to find out what in the world just happened to me. I had to actually have my son and my husband pick me up and bring me over to my couch because I couldn't walk. So I looked over here. This is a coloring book. Can you imagine that? It's a coloring book. Human anatomy coloring book. Yeah, I do. I homeschool my children. So I looked around to see what in the world it was, and that's how I ended up on YouTube, because I found it in here. I looked at that and I said, that doesn't help me because it's in the front of my leg. It was right here that I couldn't move. Oh, cool. Where are you at that you're homeschooling? I'm in California. Okay, here it is right here. So, muscles of the lower limbs, and it's this muscle that I was looking at was the sartorius. Oh, wonderful. So, it's up here by where the hip bones are, right? And it attaches here and it goes all the way down, wraps around all those other muscles and comes into the knee. I didn't know what had happened to me. I just knew I need the answer. So I looked at the numbers, right? Which one could it be? I started with 2, looked at that, came over, looked at 2. And in this book, it doesn't tell you exactly what they're all used for. It just tells you what colors to color it. So I've done that a lot with my children, and they got to hear or be exposed to many different scientific words. But then I went to 3, and that's where I saw it. Then I moved over to YouTube to see what in the world does that do and how will it affect me. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of things that I did. The first thing I did with my son... Oh, here, sweet. Here. Okay. The first thing I did with my son is he came over to me and came right here, pushed down, and started massaging it, because we always know if something's happening with the muscles, something must be tightened up and that you need to put pressure on it, right, to work that out. All I knew was, I'll show you what I did. I was down like this in my cabinets, down like this in my cabinets, and I was moving things around, right? And when I got up, I felt something here pop over, and then I twisted to go where I needed to go, and I thought, what in the world was that? When I went like this, I couldn't move. So there was a strike of pain that was going down this way, and a strike of pain that was coming up this way. I didn't know what in the world happened. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I found on YouTube. After my son was pushing in and massaging, you could feel lumps in there, and I was screaming because I was so scared about the strikes of pain that were going up and down. So every time he pushed here, I kicked here. He thought it was hilarious. I was just screaming, and then my other kids started laughing, but that's a different story. Alright, so this is what they showed me to do on YouTube, and I'm so thankful it worked. Come down on your stomach, however way you can get there. I was on the couch and I moved with one leg to get down, okay? What you do is you bring your foot up like this, right? And then you let it come out this way. That actually activates that muscle there that's wrapped around. And then you actually scoot your knee in like this, and it's fully activated. I didn't actually feel a whole lot when I did it. So I would move my foot up and down like this, bring it out again, move up and down like this. I'm telling you, I couldn't believe it was working, because I literally could not walk on my leg. It would hurt so bad. And then brought it again and moved it in and out. And it just set it in the right form that it needs to be. So if I'm sitting kind of weird, like, you know, not right posture, I start to feel it a little bit, but it just reminds me that it was sore. It's not hurting me though, and I can actually walk around. Okay, so good news is it was here, right? It's connected. I can feel it a little bit when I do that. Connected up here, wrapped around there. Muscle I didn't even know was there, ever. I didn't know it was there. Okay. All right. So I'll show you a couple of other hip ones. The reason why I put hashtag running is because that was one of the things that used to hurt me the most when I first started running, was up in this area here. It's also really important to have this stretched out if you're going to do any jumping exercises, squatting. So that's where I was. I was in a squat position when I came up. Let me know if they say anything on there. Okay, so, and then the other thing too is if you have lower back tightness, what we tend to do is try to go this way, right? And we try to twist, and it's really not going to access it doing those exercises. So a good one is to put your knee out like this and put this knee down. So everybody knows this one, right? Where the leg is straight out and you're on your foot. But if you bring your knee all the way down and let your foot rest in back of you, okay? And then come up like this, and it completely stretches this whole area, including the lower back area, and you get complete relief. So you want to do this maybe for about a minute. If you can't gauge what a minute is, just take some deep breaths. So some people will lift their arms up like this, which kind of reminds you of yoga, right? Arms up. If you can't do that, just put your arms here and just take 10 deep breaths. So do that, okay? And then you can also switch. The other one, knee out in front of you. Do not make it go past your toes. Have it straight up, leg back with the knee coming, and you can see that my thigh is going at a perpendicular way. It's kind of at an angle a little bit, and then lift up, get your balance. Then you can come up, deep breath. It'd be good to do it on both legs, okay? If not, just lay your hands like this, try to keep your balance, but I feel a stretch all in here, okay? And it's wrapping around to the back as well. Now, I don't feel a huge stretch on my lower back. I feel it in the front, but it's stretching everything, and it can give you lower back relief. All right, now I have one more, which is just, you're gonna put one leg out, like this, one leg back, okay? Now, if it's like this, it's not a big deal. Have it out. You're gonna lay straight back. And just sit in that. And I can feel the stretching here. All in here. I can feel a little bit back here.
Something going on.
It stretches all here. Okay? Just sit in that and let the stretch come in. When I've done this after working out, it's tight. That muscle is very tight. So you're just gonna sit in it, and when it does that, just take deep breaths. Okay? And then we're gonna switch legs. All right, go past the camera.
Huh?
Pass the camera to me. Okay.
Look at it.
I'm going to flip. I'm gonna flip. Here I am. Okay. So again, going down, and you can see here, my legs back, right? My foot's all the way down like this, but you can go to the side. I hope it doesn't look broken to you. Okay, and I'm totally stretching that middle part right there, the hip flexors. This is good to do when you warm up and you're running a little bit. It's good to maybe run just a couple minutes, 5 minutes or less, and then do some of these stretches. You can do the one where it's kind of going in runner pose and then going a little deeper, right? Doing that one. You can do this one after you've done your workout or after you've done your running or even weightlifting and doing squats. You can do this, okay, to release all that, get the muscles kind of bunching up like this. You want to get them to come out again and release. Okay? So, and then, what was the other one that we did? Oh, and the first one that I showed you, that it's just so weird how it really activated that. Okay, so thank you for joining me. You don't know who I am Katrina Garcia, and I like to get on sometimes and talk about fitness a little bit, health and wellness as well, and then of course I homeschool too, so some people are kind of interested on what happens in the life of a homeschooler, so I'll talk about that. Lastly, I'm a behavioral specialist, and I'm going to start providing a little bit more content about that, about how do you deal with behavior. Okay, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. I'll see you soon.